welcome back. It's Suzanne Broughton from OC Family TV on Cox 3. Have you seen this? Peter Pan has landed right here at the Orange County Performing Arts Center. I got a chance to, I haven't seen the show yet. I'm going to see it tonight with my kids, but I got a chance to interview some of the producers and Peter Pan himself. So come on, I'll show you. No, seriously, come on.
What's your name?
Wendy Moira Angela Darling. And yours?
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan is coming to the Orange County Performing Arts Center. We opened on the 28th of September and we run for 10 weeks. We're delighted to be here. The show moved from San Francisco, where we have a 19-week engagement. We have predominantly the London cast, and we have an opportunity to be able to bring it exclusively to Southern California and be here for this great run. The story goes back to the true base, which is when J.M. Barrie wrote the story, which was about Peter Pan and about these characters, about the idea of Peter Pan being in Neverland, but actually exploring growing up. So it is a story about growing up. It's unusual because it's for today, so we use other tools. We have this amazing CGI that takes people on this flight to Neverland. It allows us to be able to tell that story in a way that really appeals to a very wide audience. From a young child who is really fascinated by the movement and the puppets that we have, to an adult who sort of starts to explore what they really understand as the original Peter Pan. And we're very fortunate to have those tools that weren't available 100 years ago. We made a decision with the flying to actually have the harnesses show so people can see them flying, but really there are two wires. Those wires allow each of the cast to have much more mobility. And the director had said to the cast, make it look as though you are children. And when children are up in the air and they were to fly, if you had no wires, you'd want to tumble and you'd want to do all of these things. Well, with two wires you can do that. We really allow the cast to express themselves as if they were children flying for the first time.
I've never really been too comfortable with heights, so I think the highest point on the flying rig there is 33 feet. So yeah, it was pretty scary, and because it's all in the round, you see all these people who look this big now from up there, and they're all around you looking up. So there's you have to look confident and effortless and have it down for it to work. And because it is Peter Pan, you can't get away with sloppy flying. Nate,
who plays Peter Pan, when we hired him, he hadn't even graduated from drama school. This is his first professional engagement. Think of that ability to go from basically drama school to on stage. It's something that a lot of kids dream about, and they don't ever really think it can happen, but it does. And so we try to make that sort of the story point, which is imagination. It's all about imagination and dream and desire and passion. If you really want something, you can probably do it.
I never wanted to grow up myself, so it was quite an exciting moment.
Not a big stretch for you, huh?
No. My mum kept telling me to grow up, but I refused, and it eventually paid off. This is my first job. Yeah. But yeah, the story itself is magnificent, and it's so, as well as like magical and fantastic, it's also really dark, and you can there's some real grit underneath the whole fairy flying sort of magicalness of it all.
I'm Jonathan Hyde, and I play George Darling, the father of the Darling children, and somebody called Captain James Hook, Jazz to his friends, except he doesn't have any.
Why is that crocodile the only female who's ever shown the remotest interest in me?
And the story is reasonably real, and at times quite scary. Hope so, anyway. That's the whole idea.
For Captain Hook to be a little scary.
Yeah, he's very scary.
Something more emotional and more for the adults as well as the children. There's so much to look at for the kids, but for the adults there's a lot to connect to and be like, wow, I was young once and now I'm a bit older, and everyone can really identify with Peter Pan, and to play Peter Pan is the best.
Okay, the show is over and it was phenomenal.
The show is awesome.
Ben?
You gotta come and see this thing.
I loved it.
Peter Pan here at the Orange County Performing Arts Center. 2 thumbs up. I always like the way that Mrs. Darling handles Mr. Darling. You know, because she's so calm all the time.
She's always calm.
He's going off. He's
He
like
panics
pitching
and
a fit,
panics and panics.
and she's like, oh, and they all kind of have adopted. The kids seem like they've adopted that attitude. You know, kind of like, oh, he's going out.
The kids don't take him seriously at all. That's partly his problem. You know, that he feels like the besieged male. You know, the old tyrant who just can't seem to enforce his authority at all. So he goes over the top, drags Nana downstairs, and that's when that's where the whole catastrophe starts. He's to blame.
Really,
So-
for the whole thing.
Well, he is, yes.
The dad.
Otherwise, if they'd left Nana in the nursery, Pan would never have been able to get the children out, and we wouldn't have had a story.